Mm. Kojo, Kojo, please come.
Kembo, Kembo, depending on where you are, I greet you. Thayo, thayo, nyumba ya mobi. Thayo, thayo, gĩkũyũ gĩtarathira. Thayo, thayo, ndũrĩrĩ. Nusiemi betwa bumbote bana bayisolele. Molweni abantwana abanguni. Mpo salama watoto wa Mungu. Dumelang, siyabonga. Yes, depending on where you are, we greet you because we are Africans and Africa is our business. And today we have none other than the one and only director of fashion and sports, Festac
Mm.
Renaissance, Festac Africa
Mm.
Renaissance.
Mm.
He's helping the continent of Africa and those of African descent remember. So, Kosiami, perhaps greet us and the viewers.
Oh well, thank you for having me. My brother, it's good to see you again after a long time. The viewers, peace and blessings, everybody. My name's Villager Salami Olamyde Ojuiunu. That's me. I'm director for fashion and sports Festac Africa. And permit me to always use the word renaissance, because without the word renaissance, we can't have phantom of who we are as Africa. Yeah. So thank you, my brother. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. So, I like to dive in and perhaps you can tell us what drew you in to the role of the Festac Africa Fashion and Sports Director. What drew you in? Who is the man behind the director?
Well, that's for me. That's an utmost pleasant question, because I always know as when this came, I knew that, oh my God, Bounty is going to interview me. Bounty is going to skin me alive with some practical questions and all that. But don't worry, I'm your peer. So if you see the word Festac Africa, Festac Africa is just not a festival for blacks and acts and culture inclusive. It's the word unity. It's a word that the Ubuntu, and they are shared, which is coming together, oneness of Africa, of who we are. No matter where you come from, as long as you're black, as long as this king is from as black, you are an African. You are who we are, which is unity. Um, it in first that did not start. It started as Inspire Africa Connect. Inspire Africa Connect, a group of Africans in Africans, Africans with mind of exploration, mind of history, mind of content, but the main vibrant among everything that is going to be said here is that it's about fun, it's about trade, and it's about connect. So the group called Inspire Africa Connect, under the leadership of no one other than my boss, my chairman, Engineer Yinka Abioye, is the founder, is the chairman, is behind this beautiful renaissance that we live by today called Festac Africa. So Inspire Africa Connect, Inspire Africa bought in Festac, Festac Africa. This is the same Festac Africa that started in 1966 in Dakar, in Senegal, when Lupe Sago was the president then. If you know the story of Lupe Sago, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a front runner when it comes to a freedom fighter of what Africa is today. And after 11 years, Nigeria succeeded it, and thank God that Nigeria succeeded it as a way to usher the Biafran War, the civil war, which is known as the Biafran War. And that was 11 years after it was succeeded in Nigeria. And then the president was General Olusegun Obasanjo. You also know that too, a renowned, elder statesman in Africa. He was then the president. And then in Nigeria, then in 1977, when he occurred after 11 years, Nigeria spent 1 billion US dollars at that time. And how come, if I say $1 billion in 1966, you know what I mean? That's like people be like, what, really? But then Nigerian discovered oil. So the business of oil, funded funded the logistic for that. That's where it resulted to 1 billion. And it lasted for one whole month, where we have almost 3,000, 5,000 participants all coming from diaspora. We have a place in Nigeria called Festac Village, that still exists until tomorrow, where you have over 10,000 people living in that place. That's the relics of what Festac Africa, left behind. And it was done at the National Stadium today in Surulere in Lagos. And we have another artifact today that becomes a symbol of what Nigeria is. It's called the National Art Theater. The monument is unbelievable. So the presidents, the way the old program present themselves shows that it's not something to be toyed with. It's not something to be played with. Something that you have to manage. You have to use as a yardstick of what Africa is supposed to be today. So and after 45 years, and I tell you, but the trail was that after Nigeria in 1977, Ethiopia was supposed to host it because Ethiopia is known for his ancient, offspring and all that, but they couldn't afford it, so it didn't occur. Then after 45 years, um, my boss, Engineer Yinka Abioye and Inspire Africa Connect said, no, let's bring back what First Like is about. So he came back, and when he came back, it was done in Zanzibar in 2022. And you have the live of Wali Shoyinka as the patron, and you have the live of Nasir Laurent, Nobel Prize winner from Zanzibar as host patron as well too. And the reason why it was done in Zanzibar was because then it was during the COVID-19, the pandemic situation. We all know the stereotype and the word that says, "Oh, Africa, disease," and all that. No, it's all propaganda. It's we all know legislatively and even administratively, it's not. It has nothing. COVID has nothing to do with Africa. So it was just a podcast of propaganda, if I would say. And that was the reason why Engineer Yinka decided to take it to Zanzibar. So Zanzibar is an island, So the formation was to have it cleansing, because when you call Africa, we have this deep sense of spirituality. So the formation was to have it cleansing. So on an island, it was succeeded. And after that, due to logistic, we decided to take it to Arusha. And the formation of Arusha to Tanzania is that the center point of Africa. When you are in Arusha, if you're in the capital city of Arusha, what's it called, in the CBD, the hub, you have the clock that goes. If you go to the east, you're going all the way to Alexandria in Egypt. If you go to the west, you go all the way to the coast guard of Ghana, and to the south, you're going to South Africa. That's Cape Town. So everything has an epic story. It's just not. A festival. That's why it's known as the oldest and the biggest festival on the African continent. After Arusha, successfully, we took it. But then again, in Arusha, we were happy that we had the lives of PLO Lumumba. We know him for his, for his altercation and fear nobody, intuition that comes out of his mind. So he was the main man. He was the host. He was the person that we gave the baton to. Due to his presence and his principles and the followership, he succeeded to host it in Kisumu, Kenya. So in 2024, it was successfully hosted in Kisumu, Kenya, and we have the lives of two Babas, which is for me as a younger person, it's already history in the making. When my unborn child and my family will understand that, oh, my uncle, my brother was part of this Festec Africa, since 2022 up until date, which is a privilege for me as a black man and as a Pan-Africanist. So the end word is that in Kisumu. Kisumu is the county, one of the counties in Kenya, where the governor is Peter Oyongo. The father the biological father of Lupita Nyong'o, the lady in the Black Panther. So we didn't just wake up and say no, this is what we want to do. We have strategy out of it. That's why we having results. And right there in Aruja, in Kisumu, we had the lives of Baba Olusegun Obasanjo. The president was unbelievable, and also Baba to Raila Odinga. If you have these two people together, right, Baba Raila Odinga and Baba Olusegun Obasanjo come together. For me on that day, I swear to God, I had tears in my heart, and I was saying that, wow. So for me to be part of this, raising all the flag of African country for us to unite, the symbol is unprecedented. So now we're talking about 2025 destination Accra, Ghana. That's where we are today. Thank you, my brother.
Thank, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I appreciate that you have taken us through the history of how we got here, how we get to have a villager. And Mudamaki Washira Wakiragu engaging in this dialogue. So I'm just going to show you a small video, which is the premise of my next question.
Okay.
So I'm sure you caught that. And so now tell me, how is Festac 2025? How is Festac 2025 shaping fashion differently from the past editions that we've had? And what new stories are your designers bringing? Because I have had the privilege to see the ensemble that you set up in Kisumu. So 2025, what are we looking in terms of the designers and the ideas? What are you bringing?
Well, I was looking forward to this question and hear you presented that same questions. In life, the three dimensions that we all know, which is clothes, food, and shelter. So and First Tech Africa is what clothing is about. It's just not clothing. We should start from cotton. A lot of people always talk about clothes, fashion, design, but nobody speaks about the seed that you have to put in under the soil to harvest, to germinate, grow, and take advantage of, which is the word cotton. So for me, African cotton, it's one symbol that I hold at a yardstick like this, as well as the West African cotton, the East African cotton, the Southern African cotton, and the North African cotton, which, holds the four corners of what Africa is. Without clothes, we are nobody. Even in the Bible too, the case of Adam and Eve, after they had the forbidden fruit in the world, they were covered, meaning that they had to wear clothes. Even if the formation at that time was leave, today it's what we call clothes. So for me, as an African, not just an African, as a Pan Africanist, cotton is my number one priority here, which is what I have always laid my emphasis on as a designer. A lot of people call me designer. I don't see myself as a designer. I'm a couturist. I make fabric, and I'm out of that fabric. I use that fabric to make products like your jacket, your pants. But the yardstick is that we seed our cotton. That's the yardstick. This is the metro. It's epic. We seed our cotton. After seeding our cotton, we harvest it. After harvesting our cotton, we now yarn our cotton. After yarning our cotton, we dye it into different colors, like what I'm wearing, like that. This is an example of what I'm talking about. After dyeing it, we now make product out of it. Two ways. We have one that is known, the botanical name is Asha Ofi, but the regular name is Asha Oke, which is your Kente in Ghana, your Damfani in Burkina Faso, and your Kiyete in Kenya, if you know what I mean. So you see that it's nothing just happened. Mungo Park is the story of Mungo Park. When it came to Africa, also I am also an historian as well too. So I have a backing of back, which is my yesterday, my now, my tomorrow. Should in case I have people coming to tell me what they want me to know. I'll make them understand and know. The same in as much as you understand the dynamic to that level, I also understand it too from my own point as an African man. Mongo Park came and told me you need to discover River Niger. But Mongo Park, when he came, he met my forefathers there. They were busy using the stream. They were busy using taking advantage of the stream. They were, you know, washing clothes on the stream, using the stream to bath and doing dishes. And now Mongo Park is coming to tell me that he discovered River Niger. Of course, I'm not going to take that as an historian. And I've also dug that out with my professors in school that they said, okay, they understand the dynamic, but then history is always history. So, and the essence of me deliberating it to this extent is that if we don't have backings, just what the white people taught me, the Europeans taught me as an African that everything I had to speak about, I have to have backing with it. Because it feels like, how do you feel that a white man will come as a missionary into an African atmosphere and strike a deal with a king that is not wearing anything? It's not possible. When the white man came to Africa, my king was wearing something. He had covered. So, and whatever he was wearing is today known as Asha Ofi, which is, even if you had to backdate him, I did my research and I backdated that thing to 1726, which I also confirmed it from forefathers, and I was right on track. So that's exactly the formation, that today you don't have to see an African in American for you to recognize an African American. He has to wear the robe. He has to look all. No, it's not about elaborate anymore. As a younger an African is, I said this is what we need to do. I used to be a model. I used to be a runway model, like big time runway model overseas. I came back to Nigeria and I realized that I'm tired of wearing jeans. I can't keep buying jeans, and just jeans are expensive. And not like I cannot afford it, but if you look at it, for a layman that can't afford it, it's expensive, but he wants to look good. So I said to myself that, wait a minute, I took a comparison. I took this material, this cotton from Africa, after yarning and spinning the end material, I took the piece and I took another piece. And I showed it to the world, and I said, wow, I looked at it. When I did my research on the jeans, after 1,000 years, the jeans is going to turn into dust. And when I did my research on the actual fee, after 3,000 years, the actual fee is still standing. So the sequence is who is fully who. So that's why, as an African person, we should stop the sequence of pushing ourselves. We should learn how to pull ourselves, which is, if someone has not pulled me to where I am today, I won't be able to deliberate, in terms of what fashion is about. In Accra, the fashion show in Accra is going to be the element of what fashion is about. Because we're going to display 100% of our own fabric. If you're coming from Ghana, you come and display every fabric, every cotton that Ghana can supply. The same as Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Kenya. We don't want no jeans. Not like we're stereotyping. We're not stereotyping. We're just being real. Because enough the word should be enough. It's enough. And the models as well too. As a part-time model, as an old model or an ex model that become a couturist, I've also feel that for us to showcase and display these outfits, we need human models, which is the human model. Like in Arusha, it was dynamic. It was awesome. In Kisumu, the fashion show was unbelievable. Was spectacular. So, and the aspect for Festac is that every year we step up our game. We try to do the best. There's always yet to come. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But I'm gonna tell you, my brother, today, if you're coming to Festac Africa, September 21st to 27th in Accra, you don't come with clothes. Just come with empty bags. There are so many African clothes and African fabric that you're gonna pack back home. But thank you.
Sentiments I can share with you, because the fabric I'm wearing is actually from Ghana and it's very breathable. So this is one
exactly. Here you go. Here you go. There you go. Here you go.
I am an ambassador for culture, and as such, I must ask that of which appertains my house, my department, my docket, whichever term we choose to put on it. Fashion is culture in motion, something that you understand very well. So how do you balance the tradition and the innovation in the designers you showcase?
Um, you see, my brother. The thing is that understandings are very important in life. Because when you have an understanding that works for you to what you are as human being, it will become something you can reason with other people, which is the pull. I keep telling you, like, no, we should delete or kill or murder the word push, because African, we've been pushing ourselves for so long. That's why we keep doing the same old thing and fall as a fool, flat footed. But when we learn how to pull ourselves, because when you pull me, trust me, you are enlightening me. You're giving me an advantage to become who I am supposed to be as a human being. So, and that same understanding is one I have come into fashion, because you can't. I'm not that type of tourist that you send an invitation to come do a fashion show and I jump at it. No, I don't jump at it. I see this. I see the reasons and the significance behind it. If this is going to be sustainable, if it's not sustainable, if it's not going to work for more, I am not interested. So that's my yardstick, and that's what I'm going to use. That's the same formation we've started, because for First Tech Africa Fashion, we have a template, and that template is there. What we did in Zanzibar, it became better in Arusha. Kisumu became 100% better. But now, remember, the best is going to is going to become a drag. And what we're going to be displaying in Accra. Accra, let me tell you this. Accra is known as is a big hub for diaspora, if you know what I mean. And the diaspora are people that feel that they also, have the axis of fashion, that, when it comes to fashion, and nobody tells them, because most of them, 95% of them are Americans, and when it comes to fashion, Americans always feel that nobody can drag that with them. But they forgot to understand that, man, Africa is where the fashion starts from, and Africa is where the fashion still stays. So when they come from America to Africa, they come in their durags, their Fubu jeans, the Sean Paul, big baggy shirt, and all, Timberland looking like that. And they see all, we back here in Africa, we all dressed, look at the way you all dressed, my brother. Look at the principle of your outfit. The axe is the symbol of what we call Ade in Yoruba, which is the head. Because you have to respect the head, because without the head, you're nobody. So the head is respected because you already have your ade, which is your crown, and you have your whole body covered, which is in an elegant manner. Being a man or a woman, especially on the feminine side and the women fashion side, because fashion is a feminine, it's a feminine what's it called, objective there. The women more have more power and more leisure into it. So the pleasure of fashion, if it's not feminine, if you're not looking sexy, if you're not looking cute, and the possible result would be like, ah man, you don't look good. But then again, what's fashion if you don't look good? Because fashion it's a business of looking good. So that's exactly what we're bringing to Ghana. We're bringing, the business of looking good out every time, because we have it from the 24th to the 27th, and one day out of the 7 days, we always have one day that you call it African Day. That African Day, it's unbelievable. Everybody's dressed up in an African attire. We have the dinner is no the eclectic. The movement is like you see like you never seen anything like it before. So I see First like Africa as like the eighth wonder of the world, my brother.
True, true. It is, after all, the biggest festival of Africa, culture and arts to ever. Talking of
Yeah.
that, Africa and those of African descent, and their tomorrow.
Mhm.
How are you, as the director, engaging the youth, which is tomorrow, and those in the diaspora creatively through Festac? And secondly,
Well,
just
okay.
hold on so that we may combine this answer. And secondly, is African fashion taking its place on the global stage? And what should we watch out for if we want to push African fashion, my brother?
That's a very that's just not a question. It's a statement. Like PLO, we always say, you know, believe in Africa, believe in where you come from, so you can understand where you're headed in life. The youth, there's nothing you can do if you don't use the word youth. This program, this interview would have been something of a weakness if the word the youth, as an arise, through you. Thanks for bringing that up. I started as youth myself. We all started as youths, because that's the word. A lot of people don't get it. Like youth, 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 youth. We all started as youths. And when I started, at the age of 12, I started putting colors together, and I realized that, there's something really, really, in front of me, furthermore, in fashion. So I started, modeling and all that. And I also believe the youth these days, you don't have, you can't always bake your cake and have it, and that's life, that's nature. You can't force what cannot be. If it's not meant to be, you just have to let it go. I'll also refer back to the Bible, what the Bible suggests there. If you can't do it, flee it. Meaning if you just cannot do it, just let it go. So the youth are really um working on the word sustainability. Sustainability is, on equity as well too, which is what I see every day. Because when it comes to African Fashion Week, we have one of the biggest fashion shows in Africa too. It's called the African Fashion Week. The GTB Fashion Week. All Mercedes Benz Fashion Week and all that. Sorry, that's called names, but it is what it is. So and now you have Festac Africa. Our own is called First like Africa Afrofusion Runway Experience. I only just know the fashion show. Festac is an experience. The fashion show in Festac is an experience slash exhibition whereby you display like a pop up of what you have. You just don't come and just come see it. We're gonna have a symposium for sure where the value chain is going to be elaborated. We're going to have also SMEs, display from banks and from donors and all that, to let us speak about fabric. I'm really really keen about the African cotton. Okay, without this cotton, we all going to be naked. So and that's that. And I also see that today we talk about entertainment. We talk about music. You see what Davido, Burna Boy, Asake, Kenzo, Diamond Platinum, Tiwa Savage, Yemi Alade. You see what they've really, really turned fashion into what fashion is supposed to be. Today, if you watch a Davido video or Burna Boy's video or Asake or what's her name, RI Star, if you watch them play their music video, you see outfits, you see those costumes that are made from who we are as Africa. And I'm sure you love it, my brother. That's the reason why, and that's also the reason why they also get nominated for Grammy and also get chance to win this whole Grammy because of appearance. Appearance matters a lot. So in Africa, there's an adage that say, you know, your address is your mannerism because the way you look is how you're gonna be addressed. And what does that mean? You can't all look tattered and all dacky and think you're gonna get away with it. No, you have to always look your best as a person, as an African. So that's the element. It's even in the Nigerian, even in the music, in the movie industry, you see they display African clothing, African fabric, African costume, which is my other part. Even if I have to think about that as an image consultant again, taking that value into the backstage of what African film is about. Let's change the way we dress. It's already changed already in Nigeria here. You can't come here and I don't think my being somebody in the cotton industry, I've seen that it's changing, but the change here is that it's rapid, it's quicker and it's faster in Nigeria than any part of the African country. So I think most of the African country too. We also look into the Nigerian euphoria and say, "Oh, okay, I don't want to look like that, but I want to dress similar," because it's inviting when you see somebody the way he's dressed. All you need to do, you don't need to dress like that. You need to infuse your own style into what you've seen so that it can look like a replica, which is what I believe too. Because it's in France they call it prêt-à-porter, ready to wear and all that, my brother.
Thank you, thank you. The thing I love about the villager is that she does not mince when it comes to explaining matters fashion. I was going to put you on the spot and ask you if there are any designers that we should look out to. But I'm going to be easy on you because you're a good man and you're my brother. And ask you this because we know all fashion without play makes Ndugu a dull boy.
Mm,
So
sure.
in this year, Festac 2025, are we going to see an incorporation of more uh, traditional African games, or are we just going to run the wellness and the fitness and everything we have been doing? I'm sorry about that, my brother, but you are the tree with the apples, and I have to throw the stones. Otherwise, I'll be doing the good people of Africa at this time.
I get you, my brother. So, well, this year we'll try to bring in the infusion of African and traditional sports. Where you have this one they call Ojuiunu. The Dembe. Like it's a local wrestling. We're trying to still working towards that, and also bringing. I think it's first of its kind. We're bringing in rugby, flag football, if you know what I mean. We're bringing it into the system because as African, we are known as being bucky. And when a man is bucky, the next thing you want him to do for you is defend or tackle you. So we've been speaking to the rugby from federation on the African side, which the main general, the president comes from is used to be, I think, a Ghanaian, and we're talking to them as well too, trying to bring other sports again, like what's this called? There's this other sports again where the weaving, where you're gonna see first of its kind, where you come into where the exhibition ground is, you're going to be seeing. Am I supposed to say this? Oh my God, you're gonna put me in trouble. Oh my I should, I should, but anyway, so I'm gonna tell the viewers, you got me there. I'm gonna tell the viewers to look forward to the very best that's yet to come. Come 21st of September up until the 7th of September, and then we're gonna say Allah Allah. We're gonna say Sambonani, Kunjani, Ekaro, Kashifo, Odabo, and all that. To ourselves. With peace and love. Come the 28th of September. Thank you, Baba.
Competence has never been in question. So even with that question, I know you are well equipped with the skills to bring us what we require. But then again, we've talked about Festac. What legacy? What do you want to be remembered for? As the director of Festac Africa Fashion and Sport, what do you want to be remembered for? What mark do you want your tenure, however it extends? What impact do you want to make at Festac in fashion, in sports, data, all those of African descent?
Wow. That's where the old stories and the ball game lies. Legacy is my only bearing in life as a person, as an African. And this legacy that I'm talking about is that a Pan Africanist. That's the word. A strong, a true Pan Africanist. You know, I've changed. We can't. We're not born into this world to come change the world. We born into the world to come change our own environment where we are at that moment. Because that's exactly what counts for me. And I've used that yardstick. Well, I don't think I've done it. I've used it to the best, but I would say that I've used it to an element whereby I become. what people can, follow as an example, whereby the way I dress, the way I look, what I eat, use that as a dimension to say, no, you don't have to go too much to be able to be yourself. You don't have to go too extreme for you to be truthful to yourself. And just like Africa has given me the opportunity, I also want to thank, Engineer Yinka Abiyoye, my chairman, my boss, and like a father to me for giving me this opportunity to be the director for fashion and sports for Festec Africa. And I believe that the best that they feel that they've seen is still yet to come. So I want to also thank you for inviting me, and I want to also thank the viewers for listening and watching. But trust me, you need to pack your bags, and I repeat, pack your bags. We're heading straight to Accra, Ghana, come the 24th upon the 27th September 2025. Destination Accra. Thank you. I think. Can you hear me? I can't. I think I
Yes.
can hear. Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay.
Okay. Now,
Can you please repeat
yes,
that again?
I have to give credit where credit is due. And first of all, I apologize to our viewers. We were supposed to have this at 2 p.m. Nigerian time and 4 p.m. East Africa
Yeah.
time. But technology
Mhm.
sometimes fails us. But we give credit where it's due because the villager was kind enough. He had to drive 2 hours from Abuja just to
No.
get
Eight,
together with us.
9. Let's say no. 12 hours. 12 hours from Abuja. 12 hours.
What else can I say? So, as the Battery Education TV
Mm.
community and the First Stack community at large, you've had
Mm.
it. Now you have no excuse. Come,
Mm.
enjoy the flamboyance, enjoy the richness that is African fashion. Keep fit
Exactly.
in the wellness that is African sports. You've had it
True.
from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. And I
So,
also want to thank my colleagues as well too. I want to believe I'm allowed to mention names here. I want to thank, you know, my CEO, Madam Grace Momo. Awesome CEO. Thank you for everything. Your effort is highly, 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 tough hearts. And my colleague Jabali from Kenya. Double J, Big J, the Ipo man, Osure, Pigger, the director, Pigger South Africa. Pigger, awesome, awesome personality. Well done for what you're doing. Miriam from Kenya, Josh, Ed George from Nigeria, and Ben Wheels, Professor Wale Apata, my uncle, my my backbone, in this First Tech Africa thing, and Miss Aino as well too, and Mr. Richard, who else am I forgetting? As well as what's the name too?
we have Becca.
GBV, exactly. So thank you everybody for the love, and thank you for having me. Back to my brother. Good to see you again. Don't worry, I'll see you in Accra.
Indeed, see you in Accra. That's the place to be. Go to the website for those who are wondering. That is www.festacafrica.org.
Yeah.
Register. You can book your hotel
Mm.
from there. You can book your flight from there because at Festac we think about everything. Because
True.
of the principle of Umuntu, Ngumuntu, Gabantu. And with those 40
I
minutes
like that.
of the
I like
villagers'
that.
time, we bid you Dayo Dayo, Kobusti,
Odabo,
peace,
Odabo,
love,
my people.
like, and Udabo
Always.
as
Thank you. I share. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Ashe,
Asante,
ashe.
Sana.